And this is something that people really need to understand. The other side has unlimited resources. They have the best psychologists and psychiatrists and motivation masters that money can buy to study how to do this.
Exactly.
And if we do not
right.
undertake to study the matter ourselves, we are helpless against them, completely helpless.
Right, and we'll never have them on the run if we don't arm ourselves with the best tool there is. And feeding them emotional responses is giving them what they want. They want to elicit an emotional response, so it's best to try to not react emotionally to their tactics. And the only way you can learn how to do that is to really study up on this very dangerous science, right?
Yeah, and the only remedy is knowledge and awareness, and also working on yourself to make yourself immune to what they can do to you. For example, Lobachevsky tells the story of the first time he was arrested by the secret police. Well, you know, he was young, and they were just starting their researches and so forth into this subject, and because he had never been exposed to directly to such violent and aggressive behavior, you know, they were easily able to reduce him to, you know, a blithering puddle of Jell-O. Well, you know, after many, many more experiences of exposing himself to the shocking behavior, to the shocking realizations of what kind of human beings, you know, he was actually dealing with, you know, 15 years or more later, he was arrested again, and he was able to stand there and look them coolly in the eye and say, you know, basically, you know, hey, you've got a serious problem. And they were so taken aback by their inability to frighten him, that they actually let him go.
Huh.
So, you know,
people
think that, you know, looking at this sort of thing, dealing with this thing, studying this thing, knowing about this thing, you know, can make you evil. No. It does the exact opposite. It inoculates you against it.
It empowers
studying
you.
psychopathy is the same thing as studying something out in nature. I mean, you can learn a lot about crocodiles by studying that. You don't want to live with them, you don't want to sleep with them, you don't want to be with them, but you need to learn about them in order to know what kind of habitat they prefer, you know, what their habits are, what their behaviors are, so that you can avoid being eaten by a crocodile.
Yeah, I like how you guys pointed out, too, that in the 50 years prior to 9/11, America experienced good times, and there were several generations of children born during that time, and the ones that were born at the beginning of that time now want to reap the benefits of all they've accumulated. There's been so much focus on enjoying the good times that it's affected people's abilities to process things critically and think objectively, and so that's sort of compromised in good times as opposed to bad times. And then when bad times hit, they're overwhelmed with evil, and they have to do they have to exert more mental effort to get themselves out of these various situations and to get away from the evil, right?
Well, this is true, because when anybody is living in a society that's at peace, and there's plenty, and there are jobs, and you can make money, and you can have, you know, the proverbial house with, you know, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 children, 2 cars, you know, annual vacation, swimming pool, etc. You know, your life is so enjoyable, and you go to movies, and you go out to dinner, and you go dancing, and you watch entertaining plays, you go to the ballet, et cetera, et cetera. You don't spend a whole lot of time being concerned with psychological abnormality, and you spend an awful lot of time, you know, entertaining yourself, you know, getting things more and better. You want the best vacuum cleaner. You want the top-end washing machine. You want, you know, the bread machine, the microwave, you know, the full-wall television, et cetera, et cetera. So you're pretty well occupied with getting all these toys to entertain yourself. And if your family is, you know, relatively stable, you know, you're not going to be concerned with psychological deviance and learning about people who lie. Once in a while, those things impinge on your lives. You know, you may have a boss or, you know, who treats you badly, but you find another job. It's okay. Or you may have a relative who acts whacked out, and there may be a family uproar over that. But by and large, you know, you go through your entire life, and your children grow up in their entire lives, you know, in a society based on everything being more or less okay. And you never stop to think that your society, which is based on, you know, this consumer modality, is existing that way because behind the scenes your country, your government is exploiting
right.
other nations, taking their resources for, pennies on the dollar, using small children to make your tennis shoes and your sundresses and your bathing suits, for barely enough to live on, and that you have all of these consumer goods because your government is taking advantage of other people. You don't know that.
Right. Well, we become so preoccupied with the self and accumulating for the self that we're not able to read the environment and other people around us during good times.
Yeah, so you grow up in a total void of any kind of understanding of evil, the nature of evil. Meanwhile, your own government has been, and probably always has been, taken over by such individuals, and they rob Peter to pay Paul, and they do so many evil things in different places that eventually all that comes home to roost on top of you.
Right, but meanwhile you can't recognize the evil. You're
plunged into a situation where it becomes overt, because when it starts coming home to roost for them, then they start putting pressure on the layers below, which is the average person. You're either with us or against us. Hey, and then you're in a situation where you are completely unable to comprehend what happened, how it came about, and you're challenged with facing the evil that always was there under the surface.
Right, and so this is what I would say to the people out there listening to this. Many of you like to go around saying your eyes have been opened, you're enlightened, and you're aware, and I say to you, it's time for you to really open your eyes and stop keeping reality at a distance. You have to start learning about this study of evil. You have to start arming yourself with the one tool that's going to help you create the change that you constantly talk about wanting to make in the world and in our country, and to be able to expose the truth. You have to embrace knowledge and start exerting some more mental effort of your own instead of parroting back what is being told to you by people in the alternative media and the 9/11 truth community and the patriot community. You have to start doing your own thinking instead of just being repetitive. Do you agree with that, Laura?
I absolutely agree. And then there's another really important thing is, do not think that you're going to be able to discern a genetically deviant individual from anybody else. They have grown up knowing that they were different, and they have devised the most extraordinary strategies for concealing their difference and using their difference to become masters of other people.
Right, and the ones that have been exposed are the failed psychopaths. The ones that are really good at it don't get caught so easily, right?
Not only do they not get caught so easily, many of them never get caught. Never, ever.
Well, this has been one of the most fascinating discussions, and we could talk about this stuff for hours and hours, but I'm sure Laura has other work to do today. But I do want to thank you, Laura, very much, and I want to have you back on again so we can talk some more. Everybody, the book is Political Ponerology. It's by Arthur Lobachevsky.
Andrew.
Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew. I called him Arthur before, too, didn't I? I'm sorry. We have this book on our website now available. I think it is the most important New World Order book ever written, probably, because it gets to the root of the problem. It doesn't hack at the leaves. And, Laura, I just want to thank you. I believe you and Henry C. edited this book, correct?
Yes, yes.
Well, I just want to thank you and the rest of the SOT group. You're doing extraordinary work. You're doing dangerous work. And there's really very few people in this circle that are truth tellers. And you guys are part of the circle, and I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Have a good one.